Hi, welcome back, Pen Wizard, and we're showing you how to demold your polyester resin casting that you've created. Again, we use the snakeskin. After about 24 hours, it's good enough to take out. You may notice it might be a little tacky. That is normal for polyester resin. Several people use polyester resin to make multiple layers when they're embedding larger objects, but in this case here we're pretty much done here. If it is a little tacky, don't worry, it'll come right off with the when you turn it. Or you can just let it sit for another 24 hours out of the mold and it'll harden right up. To remove the casting from the mystical mold, all you do is take and just wiggle back the stopper just a little bit, and the stopper comes right out. Okay, and then to break the cast free from the mold, all I do is just give it a little pull like this. Okay, and then reach in and pull it right out. There you go. We got a nice, don't worry about your fingerprints, but we got a nice cast here. I don't see any air bubbles whatsoever. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to prep the blank so it's ready to put on the lathe. And we're not going to use a sizer. I'm going to show you how to use a disc sander. Alright, so our next place we're going to go to is the disc sander and then the lathe. Okay, now we're over here at the disc sander, and what I recommend first you do is make sure that your platform and your guide is square. Generally what I do is I'll take a very small square and make sure that the table is square with the disc this way, and then the guide is also square with the disc. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now what we're going to do here, again, if you have a sizer you can use that, a trimmer some people call it. As you can see, we do have a little bit of gap here, and this is good because it allows the polyester resin to go over top of whatever your embedment is, whether it be snakeskin or whatever. And what we want to do is we're going to cut this down to meet the tube. So you got to, every once in a while you want to look at your tube to make sure that, or your sanding to make sure that you're just there barely and just see a little tiny bit of brass. I've done this a million times and always had pretty good results. Now the way I do it, I set it down here where the square is, and that holds it pretty good in place. So now we're going to turn it on. It's going to get a little noisy here, but this is just to show you how it's done. We're only going to do one side, and then I'll do the other side off camera. Okay, as you can see, I've got brass showing right around there. I've done this enough times there where I know how much pressure to push. Then after I do the other side, I'm going to clean the inside of this tube out really well, and then I'm going to use a reamer to clean the edges of the tube itself. And then we'll go to the lathe. Okay, now we're at the lathe. I've already got the mystical mold blank set up in the mandrel. Now a lot of you saying, why did I make a round mold there and then have a square top? Well, that is so that you can pour into it instead of having a vertical round mold where you can't see what you're doing. So anyway, we're going to take a little bit of this off. Okay, it's still not going to be as bad as it would be if it was a square blank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a nice file here, and I'm just going to hit the ends. And that knocked the corners off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to use our gouge. And I like to use a nice carbon round tool right off the top there because it's very sharp. And again, you have to do this with a very sharp tool and slow. You'll be taking little chips off at the beginning. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. It's a nice benefit of having a nice sharp tool. Now I've taken the high point off it because I can feel it's now smooth. And again, always wear safety glasses whenever you're doing anything with a lathe. And make sure that you're not wearing long sleeve shirts. Now I'm going to use my square. And as you can see, again with a nice sharp tool, this is what you should have. Now eventually, once I get down to a certain point, it'll start shooting up little streams of polyester resin. And as you can see how nice and smooth it is there. So I'm going to continue cutting or turning this, and then I'll show you what the final result is. Be back in a little bit. Well, there you have it, the Wall Street pen, using the mystical mold to cast a snakeskin blank. This is the end product, and it really looks good. After the video, I'm going to show you some other molds that we have, and I hope you have a good time casting your own pens. Thanks a lot, and if you have any questions, please call me or email me at wizard@thepenwizard.com, and our website is thepenwizard.com. Thanks again.